Come on, she whispers, turning the key one more time. Nothing. Not even a cough. Please, please, I can't. Her voice cracks. She won't cry. Crying doesn't fix transmissions or pay for mechanics, or make her any less alone in this godforsaken city, where she knows exactly 3 people, and 2 of them are her managers at the diner, who'd probably fire her for missing tomorrow's morning shift. She's reaching for her phone to call. Who? Who exactly is she going to call? When someone raps on her window. Marlowe jerks so hard she hits her elbow on the door. A man stands in the rain, barely visible through the water streaming down the glass. Tall, very tall. Dark coat, dark hair plastered to his forehead. Her heart lurches. It's past 10. The lot is nearly empty. She fumbles for the lock button, but her car is so old, everything is manual. And the man motions for her to roll down the window. He doesn't look threatening, exactly. His face is striking even through the distortion of rain and glass. Sharp cheekbones, strong jaw, eyes that seem to catch the distant streetlight strangely. Before we continue, please prove my mom wrong. She says I can't hit 1,000 subscribers. Okay, let's continue. Marlowe cracks the window 2 inches. I'm fine, thank you. Your car isn't fine. His voice is smooth, cultured. British, maybe. It's blocking the lane. She glances in her rearview mirror. He's right. She'd coasted to a stop at a slight angle, her back end jutting into the driving lane. But the parking lot is practically empty. Who cares? I'm waiting for a tow truck, she lies. No, you're not. He tilts his head slightly. Rain runs off his shoulders like he's made of something water won't touch. You're sitting here trying to decide whether $47 is enough for both the tow and dinner tomorrow. Ice water floods her veins. Excuse me? I can hear your heart rate accelerating. I can hear you deciding whether to be frightened or angry. He leans down slightly, and even through the narrow window gap, she catches his scent. Something like cold stone and night air, and something darker she can't name. Choose angry. It's more useful. You need to step back from my car. You need to move your car. Since you can't, we have a problem. But his tone isn't aggressive. It's almost amused, which somehow makes it worse. I'm parked 3 spaces behind you. I've been patient, but patience has limits. Marlowe's face burns despite the cold. Then go around. The spaces are occupied. You're blocking the only exit. She looks again. He's right, though she could swear those spaces were empty when she pulled in. 2 expensive-looking cars now bracket the lane on either side. I'll push it, she says, already knowing it's impossible. The lot slopes downward behind her, and she's 120 pounds soaking wet. You'll injure yourself trying. Then I guess you'll have to wait. The words come out sharper than she means them. Fear does that, makes her defensive. The man is quiet for a moment. Rain continues to hammer down. Then he says very softly, "What's your name?" "None of your business." "I'm Caspian." He says it like it should mean something. When she doesn't react, something flickers across his face. Not irritation. Curiosity, maybe. "And you are remarkably stubborn for someone in an untenable position." "Look, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't plan for my car to die here. I'm waiting for a tow truck you can't afford." "Yes, we've established that." He glances toward the shopping center, where the last few stores are shutting off their lights. "The lot closes in 20 minutes. Security will ticket you, possibly tow you themselves." Marlowe closes her eyes. Another expense she can't handle. Another disaster in a year of disasters. "Let me help." Her eyes snap open. "What?" "Let me help you." Caspian is still standing in the rain, seemingly unbothered by it. "I'll have your car towed to a reputable mechanic. No charge." "I don't accept charity from strangers." "It's not charity. You're blocking my exit. I'm solving a problem." His mouth curves slightly. "And you won't be strange once you tell me your name." She should say no. Every instinct screams stranger danger. but those instincts are at war with the desperate reality of her situation, and reality is winning. "Marlowe," she finally says. "Marlowe." He repeats it like he's tasting it. "Unusual. Family name? My grandmother." She cuts herself off. Why is she explaining? "Look, I can't pay you back. I haven't asked you to." "But you will, eventually. That's how this works." Something dangerous flickers in his eyes. "You've learned to expect traps. Good. Useful instinct." He straightens, reaching into his coat. Marlowe tenses, but he only pulls out a phone. "However, this is not a trap. This is me making a phone call so I can leave this parking lot before midnight." He turns slightly away, speaking in low tones she can't quite catch. The rain seems to fall around him rather than on him. Trick of the light, probably. Has to be. 3 minutes later, a tow truck appears. Not a grimy, beat-up vehicle like she expected, but a pristine flatbed with chrome gleaming even in the rain. The driver, a compact woman with silver-streaked hair, hops out and has Marlowe's Honda loaded with an efficiency that suggests she's done this 10,000 times. "Gunner's Auto on 5th, Caspian tells the driver, then looks at Marlowe, who's now standing outside her car, getting soaked. "They're expecting it. Tell them Caspian sent you." "I don't. The work will be done by tomorrow evening. They'll call when it's ready." "I can't afford." "It's handled." His tone brooks no argument, then softer. "Where do you live?" She takes a step back. "I'm not telling you that." "How do you plan to get home?" "I'll call a friend. Uber. Something." The words die in her throat. "Get in my car." He's already walking toward a black vehicle that looks like it costs more than her yearly salary. "I'll drive you." "Absolutely not." Caspian stops, turns, looks at her with those strange, penetrating eyes. "Marlowe, it's pouring rain. You have no transportation, no money for a taxi. You're exhausted. I can see it in the way you're holding yourself. You've been on your feet all day, and your left hip is bothering you. How could you possibly? You keep shifting your weight." Small tells. He pauses. "I'm offering a ride home. Nothing more, nothing less." Said every serial killer ever. The corner of his mouth twitches. Almost a smile. "Fair point. However, if I intended you harm..." "I've had ample opportunity. You were alone in a dead car in an empty parking lot." He's not wrong. The logic is sound, even if every other part of the situation is bizarre. "My apartment is 20 minutes away." "Then you'll be home in 20 minutes. He opens the passenger door of his car. Interior lights reveal leather seats, polished wood accents. The vehicle is impeccably clean. Marlowe's clothes are soaked through. Water squelches in her shoes. She's cold and tired and so done with today. She gets in the car. Caspian slides into the driver's seat with a grace that seems too fluid to be entirely natural. The car starts with a purr so quiet she barely hears it. He adjusts the heat without asking, directing warm air toward her. "Address?" She gives him the cross streets rather than her exact building. He doesn't comment, just pulls smoothly out of the parking lot. They drive in silence for several minutes. Marlowe watches the city slide past, familiar streets made strange by rain and darkness. She's hyper-aware of the man beside her, his stillness, the way he drives with minimal movement, like he's done this route 1,000 times, even though he can't have. "You work at the diner," Caspian says suddenly. Not a question. "How did you..." She looks down. Her uniform shirt is visible beneath her jacket. "Of course. Yes. How long?" 3 months. Why?" Making conversation. You're sitting there vibrating with tension. I'm attempting to ease it. This isn't easing it. "No?" He glances at her. "What would?" "You could explain how you heard my heart rate through a car window in the rain." His hands tighten almost imperceptibly on the steering wheel. "You noticed that?" "Yes, I noticed that. I also noticed you're not getting wet even though we were both standing in the rain. And your car showed up too fast when you called. And..." She cuts herself off. She sounds paranoid. Crazy. And? He prompts. Nothing. Forget it. You were going to say I don't blink enough. Marlowe's breath catches. She hadn't consciously noticed that, but now that he's said it, yes. He doesn't blink. Or he does, but not with normal frequency. What are you? The question emerges before she can stop it. Caspian is quiet for a long moment. They stop at a red light, rain pelting the windshield. He turns to look at her fully, and his eyes catch the traffic light strangely, reflect red back at her in a way human eyes don't. Perceptive, he murmurs. Most don't notice. They don't want to notice. Notice what? That there are older things in this city than coffee shops and parking meters. He says it so casually, like he's commenting on the weather. Turn left here? Yes, but your building is the brick one with the green awning. I didn't tell you which. You tensed 3 blocks ago, started watching the streets more carefully, prepared yourself to bolt the moment we stopped. He pulls to the curb in front of her building. You have good instincts, Marlowe. They've kept you alive. The way he says alive makes her skin prickle. I'm not going to hurt you, Caspian continues, but I'm also not going to lie to you. You asked what I am. The answer is complicated. Try me. His smile is sharp. Actually sharp, she realizes with a jolt of pure adrenaline. His canines are slightly too long, too pointed. The word most people use is vampire, he says, and waits. Marlowe should laugh, should tell him that's ridiculous, impossible, should get out of the car and never look back. Instead, she hears herself say, That's why you could hear my heartbeat. Yes. And why you're not wet. Also, yes, water is reluctant to touch us. An old magic, older than the word vampire. This is insane. It is, he agrees readily. And yet you believe me. I can hear it in your pulse. Elevated, but steady. Frightened, but not panicking. You're processing. She is. God help her, she is. Because some part of her, the part that's always felt like the world was slightly more than what people admitted, slightly stranger, that part is nodding along, saying, of course this makes sense. Why tell me? She asks. Because you asked, and because... He stops, seems to consider his words. Because you saw through the pretense immediately. That's rare. Most humans are skilled at self-deception. I'm not most humans. No, he agrees softly. You're not. They sit in the warm car while rain hammers down outside. Marlowe knows she should leave, should run upstairs and lock her door and never think about this again. Your car will be ready tomorrow, Caspian says. The mechanic will call. There will be no charge. Why are you helping me? Why does anyone help anyone? That's not an answer. He turns those strange eyes on her again. No, it's not. But it's the only one I have right now. Marlowe opens the car door. Cold air rushes in. She pauses, one foot on the pavement. If you're what you say you are, if that's real, are there others like you? Many. Here? In the city? Everywhere. A pause. You're safe, Marlowe. This city has laws, protections. My kind doesn't hunt here. She wants to ask how he knows she's worried about being hunted, but the answer is obvious, because that's the first thing anyone would worry about. Thank you, she says, for the help, with the car. You're welcome. She's halfway out when he speaks again. Marlowe, when you go upstairs, lock your doors, not because of me. But there are things in this city that don't follow laws as well as I do. Her blood turns cold. That's not reassuring. It's not meant to be. It's meant to keep you alive. She gets out, stands in the rain, which immediately soaks her all over again. Through the passenger window, she can see Caspian watching her with an expression she can't quite read. Not hungry, not predatory. Something else. Something almost like concern? He drives away. Marlowe stands there long enough to get thoroughly drenched, watching the taillights disappear into the rain-soaked night. Then she goes upstairs, locks both locks and the chain, and stands with her back against the door, wondering what the hell just happened. The diner is packed the next morning. Always is on Wednesdays when the senior center down the street lets out. Marlowe weaves between tables with practiced efficiency, balancing plates of eggs and pancakes, refilling coffee cups, smiling until her face aches. Her hip does hurt, like Caspian noticed. Old injury from a car accident 2 years ago. Acts up when she's been on her feet too long. She's trying not to think about Caspian. Trying not to think about the word vampire spoken so casually in the intimate space of an expensive cars. Trying not to remember the way his eyes reflected light wrong. She's failing spectacularly. "Order up," Danny calls from the kitchen. Marlowe grabs 2 plates, special breakfast, extra bacon, and heads to table 7, where she stops, dead. Caspian sits in the corner booth, looking supremely out of place in his dark, expensive coat amid the cracked vinyl and formica. He's reading a newspaper. An actual physical newspaper, like a time traveler from 1985. He glances up when she approaches. "Good morning, Marlowe." Her hands tighten on the plates. "What are you doing here?" "Having breakfast." He gestures to the menu. "Or attempting to. Your colleague seemed confused about whether she should take my order." Marlowe looks over. Sure enough, Bethany is hovering by the register, staring at Caspian with wide eyes. Great. Perfect. Exactly what she needs. "This isn't your kind of place," Marlowe says quietly. "I contain multitudes. Perhaps I enjoy diner food." "Do you even eat food?" The words are out before she can stop them. His mouth curves. "Sometimes. For appearance's sake." He pauses. "Though I confess breakfast foods hold a particular nostalgia." Despite everything, Marlowe finds herself curious. From when? From a very long time ago, when breakfast meant something different. He looks at the menu. "What do you recommend?" This is surreal. She's taking a food order from something that admitted to being a vampire less than 12 hours ago. The pancakes are good. Danny makes them from scratch. "Then pancakes, and coffee, please." She writes it down mechanically, heads to the kitchen, clips the order to the wheel. Danny leans through the window. "Who's the guy?" "Customer. He looks like he wandered off a movie set. We getting graced by celebrity presence?" "Something like that." She makes it through the next 20 minutes on autopilot, refills coffee for Mrs. Chen, brings extra syrup to table 4, clears dishes, wipes down the counter, all while hyper-aware of Caspian sitting in the corner, eating pancakes with the careful precision of someone who hasn't eaten solid food in quite some time. It's almost noon when the lunch crowd starts filtering in, and Marlowe is finally able to approach his table with the check. "How are the pancakes?" "Adequate." He sets down his fork with finality. "Your cook has a heavy hand with the salt." "I'll let him know." She puts the check down. "Will that be all?" "Actually, I was hoping you might sit for a moment." He indicates the empty side of the booth. "When your shift ends?" "My shift doesn't end for 3 hours." "Then perhaps you have a break?" Marlowe glances toward the kitchen. Technically, she's due for 15 minutes, but sitting down with Caspian feels dangerous in ways she can't articulate. "Why?" "Because we have things to discuss." "Like what?" "Like the reason I came to this diner." His voice drops slightly, which is not, despite my earlier claim, the pancakes. Her stomach tightens. "You came because of me." "Yes." "Why?" "Take your break, Marlowe. 15 minutes. I'll wait." She shouldn't. Every rational thought in her head says to walk away. But rationality fled somewhere around the moment he said the word vampire, and here she is, telling Bethany she's taking 15. Sliding into the booth across from a man, a creature who shouldn't exist. "Talk," she says. "Last night you asked if there were others like me in the city." "I remember." "The answer is yes, many. We have a community here. Structure. Hierarchy." He pauses. "I'm part of that hierarchy." "Part of it how?" He seems to choose his words carefully. "High rankin', Very high-ranking. Like a boss. Something like that, yes. Marlowe waits. There's more. She can feel it hanging in the air between them. Last night was not chance, Caspian continues. I was in that parking lot specifically to meet you. Cold washes through her. You were following me? Not following. Waiting. There's a difference. Not much of one. Fair. He inclines his head slightly. But I need you to understand. I was there because you're in danger. The words hang in the air like dead things. What kind of danger? The kind that comes from being noticed by the wrong people. His eyes are grave. 3 weeks ago you witnessed something in this diner. Late shift. 2 men arguing in the back corner. One of them had unusual eyes. You noticed. Marlowe's mind races back. 3 weeks. Late shift. There was, yes, 2 men. Business types. One had been strange-looking, with pale eyes that seemed to glow slightly in the dim light. They'd argued in low, intense voices. She'd brought them coffee, tried not to eavesdrop. I don't remember much about them, but they remember you. One of them reported that a human had stared too long, asked too many silent questions. I didn't ask anything. I brought coffee. But you wondered. I can see it in your face right now. You're remembering. You thought something was off about him. She had. She'd thought his movements were wrong, too smooth, too deliberate. He was one of you, she says slowly. He was. Is. And he's convinced you're a liability. That you saw too much, understood too much. Caspian leans forward slightly. He petitioned the council to have you dealt with. Dealt with? Her voice is flat. You mean killed. I mean removed as a potential problem. There are levels. Killing is the most extreme. How reassuring. I'm telling you this because I need you to understand the situation. You're on their radar now. My kind can be territorial, protective of secrets. His jaw tightens. Most would have simply eliminated the threat. But not you. No, not me. He says it with quiet certainty. When I heard about the petition, I investigated, found you, watched you for several days to assess the actual risk. And you're not a risk. You're just observant, aware. Those aren't crimes. He pauses. So I claimed you. The words settle between them like stones. Claimed me. It's a formal designation. Among my kind, it means you're under my protection. Untouchable. No one can harm you without coming through me first. Marlowe's brain is struggling to process this. You can just do that? Just claim random humans? I'm not just anyone in our hierarchy. When I claim someone, it's respected. His voice drops. Usually. Usually? There's resistance. Some believe humans who know too much should be dealt with more. Permanently. But they won't move against you openly. Not while you're under my protection. She should be terrified. She is terrified. But underneath the fear is something else. Anger. So what? I'm just property now. Marked territory? No. The word is sharp. You're a person under protection. It's different. Doesn't sound different. Because you don't understand our world yet. He leans back. I'm not asking you to thank me, Marlowe. I'm informing you of the situation. You have enemies you didn't know about. I've bought you safety. The cost is that you're now visible to my people. Lucky me. His mouth twitches. Your sarcasm is noted, and somewhat appreciated. I'm so glad. She's gripping the edge of the table hard enough that her knuckles are white. What happens now? Now you go about your life. With modifications. What kind of modifications? You don't walk alone at night. You're aware of your surroundings. If you notice anyone following you, anyone at all, you call me immediately. He slides a card across the table. Matte black, with a single phone number embossed in silver. Day or night? Marlowe stares at the card. This is insane. Yes. I didn't ask for any of this. No, you didn't. But here we are. His voice softens slightly. I'm sorry, Marlowe. Truly. You were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Story of my life. Perhaps. He stands, leaving cash on the table. Too much cash, she notes. But this story has me in it now, and I'm very good at protecting what's mine. The possessiveness in his tone should bother her more than it does. He's almost to the door when she calls after him. Caspian. He turns. Why me? Really? There must be 100 people in this city who've noticed strange things about your kind. Why protect me, specifically? Something crosses his face, something that might be truth, if she's reading him right. Because when I watched you for those 3 days, I saw someone who's survived by being invisible. Someone who's learned to keep her head down, to not make waves. He pauses. And I saw someone brave enough to still ask questions despite that survival instinct. That interested me? Interested you? Yes. His eyes hold hers. Frankly, it's been a very long time since I've been interested in anything. He leaves. Marlowe sits in the booth, staring at the black card on the table, wondering if her life just got infinitely more complicated, or if it's been complicated all along, and she's only now noticing. Outside, through the diner window, she watches Caspian climb into his expensive car. He sits there for a moment, not moving, not starting the engine. Then he looks back at the diner. At her. Even from this distance, even through glass and light, she swears she can feel the weight of his gaze. Then he's gone, and Marlowe is left with 15 minutes of break time, that's now 7 minutes, and a phone number she hopes she'll never need to use. She pockets the card and gets back to work. 3 days pass. Marlowe's car is returned, fully repaired as promised. The mechanic at Gunner's Auto barely looked at her when she picked it up, just said, "All taken care of," and handed over the keys. No bill, no questions, just her Honda, running better than it had in years. She doesn't hear from Caspian, doesn't see him. Almost starts to convince herself the entire thing was some kind of stress-induced breakdown. Then Thursday night happens. She's closing the diner. Late shift, just her and Danny in the kitchen. The last customers left 20 minutes ago. She's wiping down tables, counting down the minutes until she can go home and collapse into bed. The bell over the door chimes. Marlowe looks up. Sorry, we're closed. The man who enters is tall, thin, with pale hair pulled back in a ponytail. He wears an expensive suit, moves with that same too fluid grace she's now starting to recognize. Her hand tightens on the rag. I know, the man says. His voice is cultured, accented. European, maybe. I'm not here for food. Then you need to leave. In a moment. He looks around the diner with an expression of distaste. So this is where you work. How quaint. I'm calling the police. No, you're not. He moves faster than should be possible, suddenly standing right in front of her. She didn't see him cross the room. One moment by the door, the next in her space, close enough that she can smell something like old parchment and underground places. You're going to listen very carefully. Her heart pounds. The black card is in her pocket. Her phone is on the counter. Danny, she calls toward the kitchen. Won't hear you. I've discouraged his attention. The man smiles. His teeth are very white. My name is Laurent. I'm here to deliver a message. From? From those who don't appreciate Caspian's recent pet project. He circles her slowly. Marlowe forces herself to stand still, not to show fear. You're quite the puzzle. Unremarkable, from what I can tell. Yet he's claimed you. Protected you. One wonders why. Take it up with him. Oh, I intend to. But first I wanted to see for myself what's so special about the little waitress. He stops in front of her again. I'm disappointed. You're just ordinary. The word stings more than it should. I'll be sure to work on that. Laurent laughs. Spirit? That's something at least. His smile fades. Here's the message, girl. Caspian can't protect you forever. His attention will wander. It always does. And when it does, we'll be waiting. We. Those of us who believe in maintaining proper boundaries between species. Humans who know too much are liabilities. You're a loose thread. He leans in close, and she can feel cold radiating from him, like from an open freezer. And loose threads get snipped. Marlowe's hand moves before she thinks about it, grabbing the coffee pot from the table beside her and throwing the contents directly in Laurent's face. He recoils with a hiss, coffee steaming on his skin. Not burning him. Can't hurt him, she realizes with sinking certainty. But startling him enough that she can bolt. She runs for the kitchen. Danny is there, standing motionless with a glazed expression, like he's sleepwalking. Danny! She shakes him. Nothing. Whatever Laurent did, Danny is lost somewhere. Behind her, Laurent's footsteps click on the tile. Slow. Deliberate. He's not even hurrying. That was foolish, he calls. And pointless. Did you think coffee would... He cuts off. The air in the diner changes, thickens, charges with something Marlowe can feel against her skin, like static electricity. Laurent. Caspian's voice, cold as ice breaking. Step away from her! Marlowe spins. Caspian stands in the doorway, and he looks... different. Dangerous in a way he hadn't been before. His eyes are fully wrong now, reflecting light like a cat's, and the air around him seems to bend slightly, like heat shimmer in reverse. Laurent takes a step back. Caspian, I know exactly what you were doing. Caspian moves into the diner. Each step is measured, controlled. You were told, explicitly, that Marlowe is under my protection. The council answers to me, or have you forgotten? His voice drops lower. I am not merely part of the hierarchy, Laurent. I am the hierarchy. When I claim someone, that claim is absolute. Laurent's face goes carefully blank. Of course. My apologies. I merely wished to... To what? Intimidate her? Threaten her? Mark her as weak so others might challenge my protection? Caspian is close enough to Laurent now that Marlowe can see the size difference. Caspian is taller, broader. Laurent looks suddenly small. You've overstepped. I acted within... You acted against my direct order. The temperature in the diner drops noticeably. Marlowe's breath fogs. Do you know what I am, Laurent? Do you truly understand? You're... Laurent's voice shakes slightly. You're the king. The word hangs in the air. King. Marlowe's brain stutters over it. Not just high-ranking. Not just part of the hierarchy. King. Say it again, Caspian commands softly. You're the king. Laurent bows his head. I apologize. I overstepped. It won't happen again. No, it won't. Caspian glances at Marlowe, and his expression softens fractionally. Are you hurt? She shakes her head. Can't quite form words. Did he touch you? No. Good. His attention returns to Laurent. You have 10 seconds to leave this city. If you're still within the boundaries by dawn, I'll hunt you myself. Are we clear? Yes, sire. Then go. Laurent goes. Disappears through the door with that impossible speed. Marlowe stands in the kitchen doorway, trembling, while Danny continues to stand motionless. He'll be fine, Caspian says, moving to Danny. He places one hand on Danny's shoulder. Wake. Danny blinks, shakes his head, looks around, confused. What? Did I black out? Low blood sugar, Marlowe says automatically. You okay? Yeah, I think so. Weird. He looks at Caspian. Did you need something, man? Just checking that you're all right. Caspian's voice is smooth, calm, normal. Why don't you head home early? Marlowe can finish closing. You sure? Danny is already taking off his apron. Positive. They wait until Danny leaves, until his car starts in the parking lot and drives away. Then Caspian turns to Marlowe. I'm sorry, he says. I should have anticipated this. You're the king. Her voice sounds strange, distant. You didn't mention that part. Would it have made a difference? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. She's still shaking. He was going to kill me. No, he was going to frighten you. Laurent is many things, but suicidal isn't one of them. Actually, killing you would mean his death. Because you'd kill him. Yes. No hesitation. I would. Marlowe moves to one of the chairs, sits before her legs give out. King. What does that even mean? In practical terms? It means I govern the vampire population in this territory. Make laws. Enforce them. Maintain the peace between my kind and humans. He sits across from her, careful to maintain distance. In deeper terms, it means I'm very old, very powerful, and very protective of what I've built here. How old? Old enough that calendars have changed formats several times during my lifetime. That's not an answer. No, but it's the only one I'm willing to give right now. He leans back. I should have told you my position. I was trying not to overwhelm you. Instead, I get ambushed by Laurent. Yes, for which I apologize again. His jaw tightens. He'll be dealt with appropriately. You said he had to leave the city by dawn. I meant it, and others will hear about this. They'll understand the consequences of testing my protection. Marlowe looks at him. Really looks. Tries to reconcile the man who ate pancakes politely 3 days ago with the creature who just made another vampire flee in terror. Why did you claim me? She asks again. And don't give me that answer about being interested. Kings don't claim random waitresses because they're interesting. Caspian is quiet for a long moment. The diner's fluorescent lights flicker above them. You're right, he finally says. There's more to it. But I'm not ready to explain, and you're not ready to hear it. Try me. Marlowe, I deserve the truth. I was just threatened by something that could snap me in half without effort. I deserve to know why my life is suddenly a disaster movie. He studies her, then nods slowly. Fair enough, but not here. Not tonight. You're still processing. When you're ready, when you truly want to know, call me. I'll tell you everything. Promise? Yes, I promise. He stands. I'm going to follow you home. Don't argue, he adds when she opens her mouth. Laurent is gone, but others might get ideas. Having me visibly guarding you will discourage that. For how long? Until the message spreads. A few days, perhaps a week. Then you'll be safe. He pauses. Safer, at least. Complete safety is impossible in this world. Comforting. Honest. She finishes closing the diner with Caspian waiting by the door, a silent sentinel. Every few minutes she glances at him, trying to process. King. He's a king. Of vampires. This is her life now. They walk to their cars together. The parking lot is empty, streetlights casting long shadows. Caspian's vehicle is parked directly next to hers, though she knows it wasn't there when her shift started. How did you know, she asks, that Laurent was here? I have resources, people who watch. When an unfamiliar vampire entered your workplace, I was notified immediately. His expression darkens. I should have been faster. You were fast enough. Barely. He opens her car door for her. Drive carefully. I'll be right behind you. She does. Drives the familiar route home with Caspian's headlights in her rearview mirror the entire way. It should feel oppressive being followed like this. Instead, it feels safe, protected. When she parks in front of her building, he parks behind her, walks her to the door. I'll be nearby tonight, he says. Not watching you. Watching for threats. There's a difference. I know. They stand there on the sidewalk, cold November air swirling around them. Marlo realizes she's still wearing her diner uniform, still smells like coffee and fryer grease. She must look ridiculous to him. This ancient, powerful being who could probably have anyone, anything. "Thank you," she says quietly, "for coming. Always." The word is soft, but absolute. "I told you, you're under my protection. That's not an idle claim." He waits until she's inside with both locks engaged before walking back to his car. Marlo watches from her window as he drives away, though somehow she knows he's not going far. She calls in sick the next day, can't face the diner, can't face the world. Spends the day in her apartment, occasionally looking at the black card with Caspian's number. Her phone rings around 3. Unknown number, but she answers anyway. "Marlo," Caspian's voice. "Are you all right?" "How did you get my number?" "I have resources. You didn't answer my question." "I'm fine, just processing." "Understandable." A pause. "There's a gathering tomorrow night. My kind holds them monthly. A social event, but also a show of power. Hierarchy reinforcement. Sounds delightful." "It's tedious, mostly, but I'd like you to attend." Her heart skips. "What? Why?" "Because Laurent wasn't acting alone. There are others who question your presence in my life. Coming to the gathering, being seen at my side, will make a statement." "What kind of statement?" "That you're not just under my protection. You're significant to me." The words hit harder than they should. "I'm not significant," she says. "I'm nobody. You're not nobody to me." His voice is quiet. "And tomorrow night, I want everyone else to know that as well. Caspian, I'm not asking you to be something you're not. I'm asking you to stand beside me for a few hours while I make it clear that anyone who threatens you will answer to me personally. Can you do that?" She should say no. Should run far and fast from this impossible situation. Instead, she hears herself say, "What do I wear?" His relief is audible. "Something that makes you feel confident. You'll be among predators, Marlo. The most important thing is not looking like prey." "Great, very reassuring." "I'll send a car for you, 7 o'clock. "I can drive myself." "Please let me do this one thing. I need to know you arrive safely." The protectiveness in his voice does something strange to her chest. "Fine. 7 o'clock. They hang up. Marlo sits on her couch, staring at nothing, wondering what the hell she's agreed to. Then she gets up, opens her closet, and starts planning how a waitress from nowhere is supposed to impress a room full of vampires. The answer, she decides, is she's not going to try. She's going to be exactly what she is. A human who's stubborn enough to still be breathing despite everything. If that's not impressive enough, well, that's their problem, not hers. The dress is probably wrong. Marlo stares at herself in the full-length mirror she doesn't own, had to prop her phone up and use the camera, and grimaces. The black dress is simple, modest. She bought it on clearance 2 years ago for a cousin's funeral. It's the nicest thing she owns. It's also probably entirely inappropriate for a vampire gathering. 7 o'clock arrives too quickly. When the doorbell rings, Marlo half expects Caspian. Instead, a woman stands in the hallway, petite, dark-skinned, with close-cropped hair and an expression that's all business. "Marlo? I'm Sylvie. I'm here to escort you." "Caspian sent you." "The king requested I ensure your safe arrival. Yes." Sylvie's eyes are sharp, assessing. Not hostile exactly, just careful. "You look nervous." "I am nervous." "Good. Fear means you understand the situation. That'll help you survive." She gestures down the hall. "Shall we?" The car is another sleek black thing. Seems like all vampires drive expensive vehicles. Marlo slides into the back seat. Sylvie takes the driver's position. "Can I ask you something?" Marlo says as they pull into traffic. "You can ask." "Have you known Caspian long?" 200 years, give or take." Marlo absorbs this. "And in that time, has he ever done this before? Claimed a human?" Sylvie's eyes meet hers in the rearview mirror. "No. Never. Why now? That's a question for him, not me. She pauses. But I'll say this. I've seen the king interact with thousands of humans over the centuries. He's polite, distant. They're curiosities to him at best. But you, he looks at you differently. How? Like you're real. Like you matter. Sylvie navigates through downtown traffic. I don't understand it either, if that helps. None of us do. But we respect his decisions, even the ones we don't comprehend. They drive to the east side, to a building Marlowe vaguely recognizes as an old theater that's been renovated. The exterior is all Art Deco glory, restored to gleaming perfection. Light spills from tall windows. This is it, Sylvie says, pulling to the curb. Few rules before you go in. First, don't wander off alone. Stay with the king or me. Second, don't accept drinks from anyone except servers in white uniforms. Third, if someone tries to engage you in conversation and it feels wrong, walk away. Don't be polite. Be safe. You're really selling this experience. Sylvie's mouth twitches. Almost a smile. Most of the people in there are civilized, but we have our monsters too. Just be smart. What if someone challenges me or threatens me? They won't, not directly, not with the king claiming you. She opens the door. But if they do, stand tall, don't flinch, show no weakness. Easier said than done. The theater's lobby is breathtaking. High ceilings, crystal chandeliers, marble floors polished to mirrors. People, vampires, she corrects herself, mill about in evening wear that probably costs more than her yearly salary. They're all beautiful in that same slightly wrong way, too symmetrical, too graceful, and they all turn to look when she enters. The room doesn't go silent. That would be too dramatic, but the attention shifts noticeably. She can feel eyes on her, hear conversations pause. Marlowe forces her shoulders back, her chin up. She's already here. Might as well commit. Sylvie guides her through the crowd. Vampires move out of their path, some with obvious deference to Sylvie, others with curiosity clearly focused on Marlowe. She catches fragments of conversation. That's her human. At a gathering. What is he thinking? They reach a set of double doors guarded by two massive men who look like they could bench press cars. The guards nod to Sylvie, then swing the doors open. The theater's main space is even more magnificent. The stage is lit with soft amber light, rows of seats removed to create an open floor. Vampires cluster in groups, drinks in hand, speaking in low tones. At the far end, on what was once the stage, a dais has been set up, and there, standing in conversation with 3 other vampires, is Caspian. He's dressed formally, black suit, crisp white shirt, no tie. His hair is slightly damp, like he's recently showered. When the doors open, his head turns immediately. His gaze finds her across the crowded room. The other vampires notice, follow his attention. The conversations don't stop this time. They die completely. Caspian excuses himself from his companions and crosses the room. The crowd parts for him naturally, an ocean before a ship. When he reaches Marlowe, his expression is careful, controlled, but something in his eyes warms. You came, he says quietly. You asked. I did, and I'm grateful. He offers his arm. Old-fashioned gesture, but somehow it fits. May I? Marlowe takes his arm. The fabric of his jacket is soft, expensive. He's cool to the touch. Not cold exactly, but noticeably below normal body temperature. You look terrified, he murmurs as he guides her further into the room. I am terrified. Don't be. You're safer here than almost anywhere in this city. He pauses. Though I understand that's difficult to believe while being stared at by 100 vampires. Is that what this is? 100? Closer to 200. This is a significant gathering. He steers her toward the dais. Most of the city's influential vampires are here. Clan leaders, elders, those with political power. And you wanted me to meet them. I wanted them to meet you. There's a difference. They reach the dais. Caspian helps her up the 3 steps, and suddenly she's elevated above the crowd. Everyone can see her. This is deliberate, she realizes. Theater in every sense. Caspian raises one hand. The room goes absolutely silent. For those who haven't yet been informed, he says, voice carrying effortlessly, this is Marlowe. She is under my protection. More than that, she has my personal regard. Any threat to her will be considered a direct challenge to me. Any insult to her will be answered by me personally. Is this clear? The silence stretches. Then, as one, the room inclines slightly. Not a bow, but an acknowledgement. Good. Caspian's hand finds Marlowe's, laces their fingers together. The gesture is possessive, unmistakable. Enjoy the evening. The crowd exhales. Conversations resume. Music starts. String quartet, something classical Marlowe doesn't recognize. But the attention hasn't fully left them. She can still feel eyes tracking their every move. That was a statement, she says quietly. That was a declaration. He leads her to a quieter corner of the dais, where high-backed chairs have been arranged. No one will question your place here now. My place being? He looks at her, just looks, and something in his expression makes her breath catch. Beside me, he says simply. Before she can respond, others begin approaching the dais. A parade of vampires, each more intimidating than the last, coming to... what? Pay respects? Assess her? Both, probably. A woman in a crimson gown speaks to Caspian in what might be Russian. He responds in the same language, tone pleasant but distant. The woman's eyes slide to Marlowe, assessment sharp enough to cut. She wants to know where you're from, Caspian translates. Kansas, Marlowe says. Originally, lived in 6 different cities since. Caspian relays this. The woman nods, says something else, then glides away. What did she say? That you have survivor's eyes. She meant it as a compliment. More come. A man who looks barely 20, but speaks with the formality of centuries. Twin women who finish each other's sentences. An elderly-looking vampire who might be the oldest being Marlowe has ever seen. His face a map of wrinkles, despite the supernatural preservation. They all speak to Caspian. Most acknowledge Marlowe with various degrees of curiosity or skepticism. None are openly hostile, but she can feel the undercurrent. Questions. Confusion about why she's here. This is exhausting, she murmurs when there's a brief break in the parade. I know. You're doing well. Caspian gestures to a server who brings her a glass of wine. It'll slow down soon. The formalities are nearly complete. Formalities? Everyone with enough rank needed to acknowledge my declaration. They've now done so. The rest of the evening is... less structured. Great. Marlowe sips the wine. It's excellent. Which somehow makes this whole situation more absurd. What happens in the less structured part? Socializing, politics. Occasionally someone tries to challenge another's territory or status. He glances at her. We're civilized, but we're still predators. The evening will have... undertones. More reassurance. You're so good at this. His mouth curves. You're handling this better than most humans would. I'm barely handling it at all. You're here. You're standing. You haven't fled screaming. That's better than most. He shifts slightly, angling toward her. Marlowe, I need you to know. After tonight, the worst will be over. You'll have been seen, acknowledged. The curiosity will fade. And then what? Then you go back to your life. The words land strangely. Just like that? Unless... He stops, seems to reconsider. Unless you don't want to. Don't want to what? Go back to your life, as it was. His eyes hold hers. I'm offering you a choice, Marlowe. After tonight, you can walk away. I'll maintain your protection, but from a distance. You'll be safe, but separate. Or, or you stay. In my life. In my world. He says it carefully, like he's afraid of the answer. I can't offer you normalcy, but I can offer you more than waiting tables and broken down cars and struggling to pay bills. Her heart pounds. What exactly are you offering? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done this before. A flicker of something vulnerable crosses his face. But I know I want you to stay. I know that the past week, having you in my awareness, has been significant. I find myself thinking about you, wondering what you're doing, wanting to know what you think about things. You barely know me. Then let me know you better. Marlowe looks out at the crowd of vampires. Impossible, beautiful, dangerous creatures who could kill her with minimal effort. Then she looks back at Caspian, who called himself a king, but looks at her like she's something precious. I need time, she says, to think about this. Of course, take all the time you need. He stands, offers his hand. But first, dance with me? Here? Now? The music is playing. People are beginning to dance. It's traditional. His smile is slight, but genuine. And I want one more excuse to scandalize the elders by being publicly affectionate with a human. Despite everything, Marlowe laughs, takes his hand, lets him lead her down from the dais to the cleared floor where other couples are swaying to the quartet's music. Caspian's hand settles on her waist. She places hers on his shoulder. They move together, and he's a beautiful dancer, of course he is. Smooth and confident, guiding her through steps she doesn't know. I don't know how to waltz, she whispers. I'll lead. Just follow. She does. And somehow, despite the impossibility of everything, it works. They move together across the floor, and the other vampires clear space, watching. She should feel self-conscious, should feel terrified. Instead, she feels seen, real, like Sylvie said. Caspian pulls her fractionally closer. They're all staring. I noticed. They're trying to understand what you are to me. What am I to you? He's quiet for a moment. The music swells, strings singing. Something unexpected. Something I didn't know I was looking for. His voice drops lower. Something I now can't imagine not protecting. That's not an answer. No, it's the truth, which is more important. The song ends. Caspian steps back, releases her. Around them, other couples break apart, applause rippling through the crowd. He bows slightly, formal, elegant, and she finds herself dipping in an awkward curtsy. May I cut in? They both turn. The elderly vampire from earlier stands there, leaning on a cane that's probably more affectation than necessity. Elder Gregor, Caspian says, you honor us. I'm curious about the girl. Gregor's eyes are milky with age, but somehow still piercing. A moment of her time? Caspian looks at Marlowe. She nods. He steps back, though she can feel his attention remaining focused on them. Gregor doesn't dance, just stands there examining her like a specimen under glass. You're not like the others, he says finally. The humans he's taken interest in over the years. There have been others? A few? Scattered across centuries. He's kind to your people. Gentle, but always distant. Gregor tilts his head. Not with you. With you, he's present. Engaged. Why? I don't know. Don't you? The old vampire smiles. I think you do. I think you see past the power and the immortality to something else. Something he's forgotten how to show most people. What? Loneliness. Gregor taps his cane once. Kings are lonely creatures, child. All that power, all those people bowing and scraping, but no one who just talks to him, who challenges him, who looks at him like he's just a man. He leans closer. You do that. You argue with him. I saw it earlier in your body language. You're not cowed by what he is. I'm terrified by what he is. But you're here anyway. That's courage, or foolishness. In my experience, the two are often indistinguishable. He straightens. He'll hurt you, you know. Not intentionally. But immortals and mortals, we move at different speeds. What's a moment to him is a lifetime to you. I know. And you're still considering staying. It's not a question. Marlowe nods anyway. Then you're braver than I thought. Gregor glances at Caspian, who's watching them with barely concealed tension. Or more foolish. Time will tell which. He bows creakily. Good luck, child. You'll need it. He shuffles away. Caspian immediately returns to her side. What did he say? That I'm either brave or foolish. You're brave. No hesitation. Gregor is difficult. If he spoke to you at all, it means he approves. That's rare. Lucky me. The evening continues. Marlowe meets more vampires, endures more scrutiny, drinks more excellent wine than is probably wise. Caspian stays close, a constant presence at her side. Occasionally, his hand finds the small of her back, protective, possessive. Around 11, he murmurs, Had enough? God, yes. He smiles. Actually smiles, not the careful expression he uses for the others. Come on, I'll take you home. They make their exit through the side door. The cold night air is a relief after the close warmth of the theater. Caspian's car is waiting, and this time he drives himself. Thank you, he says as they pull into traffic, for coming tonight. For enduring that. It wasn't as bad as I feared. No? I mean, it was terrifying, but also interesting. Your world is, she struggles for words, complicated. That's diplomatic. I'm being diplomatic because you're a king and could probably kill me with your pinky finger. He glances at her, surprised, then laughs. Actually laughs, loud and genuine. I could not kill you with my pinky finger. But you could kill me. I could, I won't. But yes, I could. His humor fades. Does that frighten you? Yes, but... She pauses. Not as much as it should, maybe. You've had plenty of opportunities. You haven't taken them. I never will. You can't promise that. People, beings, change, get angry, lose control. Not me. Not with you. His voice is absolute. Marlowe, I am many things. I've done many things across a very long life. Not all of them good, but I don't lose control. Ever. That's how I've survived this long. That's how I've maintained power. He pulls up outside her building. You are safe with me. That's not a promise. It's a fact. She studies his profile in the dashboard light. Believes him, which is possibly foolish, but feels true. Caspian, she says slowly. What do you want from me? Really? He turns off the engine, faces her fully. I want to know you. I want to see if this feeling is real or if I'm manufacturing meaning where none exists. His jaw tightens. I'm very old, Marlowe. So old that sometimes I forget what it's like to feel anything genuine. But when I'm near you, I feel something. Interest, concern, protectiveness. He pauses. Want? The last word hangs between them. I don't know if I can give you what you need, she says quietly. I'm not asking you to give me anything. I'm asking if I can try. To see if what I'm feeling develops into something real, or if it fades. His eyes search hers. I'm asking for your time, your attention, your willingness to see where this goes. And if it goes nowhere, then you walk away with your protection intact, your car permanently fixed, and a very strange story for potential future grandchildren. A slight smile. And I go back to my very long, very lonely existence with at least the memory of something interesting. Marlowe sits in the car, in the darkness, with a vampire king asking for... What? A relationship? A chance? She should be running. Should be fleeing to another city, another state. Instead, she finds herself saying, Okay, let's see where this goes. She meets his eyes, but slowly and with rules. What kind of rules? You don't make decisions for me. You don't use your power to manipulate me. And I get to say no to anything, anytime. Agreed. No hesitation. Anything else? I keep my job, my apartment, my life. Whatever this becomes, I'm not giving up my independence. I wouldn't ask you to. And no biting. The words come out firm. That's... no. Just no. His expression shifts. Something almost like respect. Agreed. No biting. Though what? You should know that the idea hadn't occurred to me. I don't feed from unwilling sources. Ever. So the rule is unnecessary, but appreciated. He reaches across the car, takes her hand gently. I'll court you, Marlowe. Old-fashioned word, but accurate. I'll take you places. Show you my world, learn about yours, and we'll see if this becomes something real. Court me, like we're in a Jane Austen novel. I knew Jane, intelligent woman, terrible dancer. At her shocked expression, he smiles. I'm joking, mostly. I knew her acquaintances. He lifts her hand, presses a kiss to her knuckles. Formal, gentlemanly. Good night, Marlowe. I'll call you tomorrow. She gets out of the car, walks to her building entrance, turns back to wave. He's still sitting there, watching, making sure she gets inside safely. In her apartment, Marlowe locks the doors, leans against them, and wonders what the hell she's just agreed to. Her phone buzzes. Text from an unknown number, but she knows who it is. Thank you for tonight. You were magnificent. Despite everything, she smiles, types back, You weren't so bad yourself. For a vampire king. His response is immediate. High praise indeed. She falls asleep with her phone in her hand and dreams of dancing in a theater full of monsters who all bowed to the man, the king, holding her close. Whatever comes next, she thinks as sleep takes her, at least it won't be boring. And maybe, just maybe, being seen by someone who's lived for centuries isn't the worst thing that could happen to someone who's spent her whole life invisible. Maybe it's exactly what she's been waiting for all along.